Finishing up another really busy day here in Tremblant. My day started with a little 6-kilometer run. I'd originally wanted to go for a bike ride out on the 117, but it was really wet this morning, so I just didn't want to risk it. So I did just a little shakeout run with some 1-minute pickups along the path that they have in Tremblant, and it was a really beautiful run. Saw some deer, and the run went well. After that, I headed to the race site, and the water was a lot colder today than it was yesterday, and a lot choppier. So it was difficult just to get into the boat, but I headed out to, they had a coffee boat out about 500 meters offshore, so I headed out to the coffee boat. After that, I did an interview with Bob Babbitt, so that was something that was really, really exciting. I've seen a lot of the interviews that Bob Babbitt has done in the past. So it was a lot of fun to be on breakfast with Bob. And then after that, we had our pro meeting. So there's been a lot going on today. Also, was able to do a few interviews with a couple of the other people that are going to be racing. So that's what I'm going to show you now. So I'm out at the coffee boat on the Ironman Mont Tremblant swim course with Cindy and Teresa. You're both going to be racing on Sunday?
Yes.
Have you done a Ironman before?
Yes, I have not.
It's going to be your first. Okay, so Cindy, which race have you done?
I've done Mont Tremblant, Lake Placid, Louisville, Florida.
So why did the two of you decide to come to Mont Tremblant this year?
I think it's the best race course in the circuit that I've been to, the best production value. Everyone's into it. It's a challenging course, but it's a very fair course. So we figured it was a great one.
Here with Jordan Monnink, 70.3 specialist who is going long this weekend doing his first Ironman. So what made you make the decision to go long?
Honestly, I've been thinking about it for a while. This is a course that I know really well. It's close to home. I've got friends who live here. I thought if I'm going to make my Ironman debut that this would be a good course, and I'm really interested in pushing the limits of what I'm capable of, so see how it goes.
And you made the decision to do an Ironman relatively late, so how did you manage to cram in all the training that you need to do?
It was a challenge. I know it's important to get some of that volume in, so it was a very fine balance between ramping things up with volume and focusing on recovery. That was a big place of importance for my coach and I.
Do you have any specific goals for race day?
Honestly, I'm just gonna go out there. I don't have like crazy expectations. I really want to learn this race, learn what it feels like to go long. That's the main goal.
Here with Brooke Brown, Canadian professional triathlete who's been living and racing a lot over in Europe. This is going to be your third in 5 weeks. So what brings you to Mont Tremblant?
Well, Mont Tremblant certainly is a special spot for me. In 2012, it was sort of my rite of passage. So in order to get to Kona, I had to pass through Mont Tremblant after missing slot allocation in Texas. So I'm sort of hoping to have a similar day and bring it full circle going to Kona in 2017.
Great. So you've had some great results lately. Is there anything that you've done differently this year that you feel like has brought you those really great results?
Yeah, partially since I began working with QT2 systems, we really dropped down my training load. So, previously I may have been training, even overtraining, doing 30 plus hours. And for someone who, suffers a little bit with energy levels, I think dropping down my total volume has been key to it. We put a little bit more of a focus on my bike training, specifically hill work and some more technical riding than what I'm used to back home in Windsor, Ontario or in Holland. So I think that's been key.
Great. And as someone who's done this race before in 2012, do you have any advice for any first-timers on this course?
Yeah, I think Mont Tremblant, as per the North American circuit, definitely is up there in terms of level of toughness. So just one of your, if you're doing Mont Tremblant for the first time, I would just take it in strides, definitely. perhaps breaking the day down into smaller little races that are a little bit more easier to mentally deal with, because the bike course, you know, you might go out and hammer it on the first lap feeling great, but the hills will really kill you. And when you hit, I think it's the sea for the second time, if you haven't controlled your efforts throughout the day, it might bite you in the behind. So yeah, just take it carefully, and you know, try to keep a positive outlook and know that the finish line is always easy.
Here with Marie Hospod, who has come back to Ironman Mont Tremblant for a second crack at it. So Anne-Marie, why did you decide to come back to Tremblant after missing the bike cutoff last year?
So missing the bike cutoff was really hard on my confidence. I'm pretty sure the first post that I posted 5 minutes after on Facebook was like, I'm done with Ironman. And then of course, you know, 20, 30 of my friends right away were like, you're not done with Ironman, give it a day, sleep on it. Of course, woke up the next morning and I was like, I'm signing up again.
Yeah.
So, you know, come back stronger, more confident, and ready to take on the course.
Okay, great. So what's changed between last year and this year to make sure that you not only make that bike cutoff, but that you make it to the finish line?
That I make it to the finish. A lot more biking, a lot of indoor winter training. Have been riding at What's Up in Toronto, which I've loved. A lot more focus on power and on interval training on the bike. So even though I may not have had long bike workouts, it's really just getting to that, you know, that threshold, that pain point, right, where you know you're working, you know that you can expect more of yourself.
So you not only have the challenge of the distance, but competing as a diabetic. So
Yeah.
Can you talk to us about what that's like?
Yeah, of course. So I've been a type 1 diabetic for 30 years come September. I have an insulin pump, which basically regulates my insulin. So I need insulin for any sort of energy, whether that be energy coming from stress or energy coming from food. So it means that for an Ironman, I have to look at how, you know, each activity, each portion will affect my blood sugar, how the food that I'm eating or not eating, as we all know, sometimes we can't stomach the food, how that affects my energy and my insulin. So it's an extra, you know, we talk about nutrition, about sleep. It's one extra factor that I have to think about.
Okay, so what would you say to someone else who is a diabetic and isn't very active right now, but you know, they see you and maybe they would consider giving triathlon or any sort of sport a shot? What advice would you give to them?
I think one, go for it, without question, go for it. Two, realize that it's a learning curve for anyone, whether you're diabetic, whether you're not diabetic, whether you're active, whether you're inactive. All of us at one point or another, we're new to the sport. We learned by, you know, asking questions, right? By making mistakes, by laughing at ourselves. Don't take it too seriously, right? It's supposed to be fun. I mean, life is supposed to be fun. So choose something that you enjoy. And I think the other thing is surround yourself with good people who challenge you, right?
So here with Janet Carey, who's going to be taking on her second Ironman at Ironman Mont Tremblant. So Janet, why did you decide to pick Tremblant as your race?
I came here in 2013 to watch a friend of mine do this race and really loved the course and the atmosphere here. I thought it would be a great place to try my second Ironman.
Great. So what draws you to Ironman racing?
I like the challenge and the struggle. I like to say it's all roses and happy moments, but the race itself is really just the icing on the cake. I find that the challenge of the lead up to it and all the training and just really having something to focus, challenge yourself on a weekly basis is really what draws me to this.
So what inspired you to do your first triathlon?
When I was 28 years old, I ended up having a spinal surgery and wasn't able to participate in any sports for about a year or so as I was recovering. And as a physiotherapist by training, I ended up going to a triathlon event in Milton and helped a friend of mine at Dynamic Health Performance who was doing the athletic tent or the sports injury tent afterwards. And I saw a whole bunch of athletes of all ages, all abilities coming in, and they really just motivated me to try to get out there and do this. And so I did my first, I guess it would have been a sprint a year later after that. So it was really a motivating experience for me and really helped me to learn that anyone, any ability, anyone can do this.
Getting ready to head to the athletes banquet and opening ceremonies. Tomorrow is the day before the race, so I'm just going to be putting my feet up. Lisa is going to be coming to Tremblant, so that's really exciting. And then Sunday's the big day. It's race day.
Oh, this you crazy mother.